Alright, chat. We ran a quick ad, but now we are going to go to YouTube. And we're going to watch some stuff. I love how the first thing I see when I log into this, right, when I go onto YouTube, if it'll pop up. Why is it not popping up? Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. The first thing that I see when I go onto YouTube is, you know, oh yeah, no, Germa, okay, okay. Demented Mickey Mouse. Uncle Ben potentially eating a groundhog. That kind of thing. Okay. But, while I was checking my notifications, I saw some new scary video has popped up.
A home security camera shows a couple.
Let's dive right into it.
When something extremely
oh wait,
creepy happens.
I should probably change my thing, shouldn't I? Let me do that. I should probably change what we're actually doing now, because we're no longer doing Minecraft. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. We're gonna go to full screen here. Let's see what Bizarre Bub has brought forth for us today.
On June 19 of 2022, user Chubby Gooby and her husband had caught footage of something that, according to them, words cannot explain. Chubby writes, "I feel incredibly uncomfortable posting this because I feel like it could be uncomfortable for many people, but I strongly feel it's important to show what has been happening in our home."
Okay.
It goes without saying, but this video has left them terrified. This is what they caught.
Hello everyone, this is our experience on June 19th, 2022. I would like to thank you all for your continued support during this difficult time.
Okay. Alright, so we're fast forwarding. You're moving around in the bed. Oh, the door has opened. Is there anything going to peek through? No? We're just opening the door. Is that all? Oh, no, no, we're moving. That looks like a hamper, maybe?
I was fully asleep at this point, and I was trying to wake up.
So are you experiencing sleep paralysis, or why are you trying to wake up? You scared that the hamper's gonna come and eat you? Something. Oh. Oh. Now they're awake.
We were both half asleep at this point, and I don't really remember what happened exactly. I just heard a sound. It wasn't until we watched the video.
It's almost as though something had entered the room, closed the door behind it, and began to move things around. The couple can't think of anything to explain this, which is why they posted the video.
If you guys have any actual explanation like that's scientific to why these things are happening to us, that would actually put us at ease. I have had a few experiences at my house before this one, but nothing to this extent. So, I don't know. like it might be following me.
Uh-oh, spooky wooky.
Has made them feel even more unsettled.
Like, I don't think you're really gonna get anything, like, scientific out of that. Like, honestly, that's just my honest opinion. Because it could, like, some would think a draft. But if it was a draft, then how would that have fallen off? And why would that stop, blow more, or not blow, move more, stop, and then move more? And that door opened, but doesn't open again. So I don't think it's a draft. I'm not sure what it could be.
As many viewers suggest that they should leave the house immediately, they believe that an evil presence has made itself known. Although it's not sure what exactly is haunting the couple, many believe that the house isn't safe to be in. But of course, what do you think? What exactly is going on in this clip? There has yet to be a definitive answer to this question.
Okay, number 4.
Jerry Bruce is a father who loves spending time with his children.
Aww.
If you hop over to his channel,
He has a cat!
most of his videos have a wholesome quality to them. However, out of all the videos on there,
Aww.
two in particular
See, now,
red.
that's what I like to see. Out of everything that, you know, YouTube has shown with, like, kids' channels and things like that, and the dark side of them, it's nice to see wholesome content for once. Like, that's a man that really loves his kids.
Videos are different in that they show something that doesn't fit with the family-friendly content of
Oh, no, here we
If
go.
anything, they seem to have come from a horror movie, one that is based on a family terrorized by paranormal activity. As it turns out, though, that's exactly the case here. Jerry has been encountering strange occurrences in his home that seem to be paranormal in nature. On May 26th of 2009, he is suddenly woken up by a strange noise inside his living room.
Okay.
He immediately grabs his phone and begins to record. Jerry writes, "I have never seen anything like this. My wife and I were awakened by the sound of a door closing. This video is all I got before me and my family left the house." This is what he caught.
Some toys on the floor. Okay. Guitar. There's nothing hiding in the closet. There's no kids hiding in the closet. Looks like there's no way for a kid to hide in that closet. It's not showing any feet or anything. Uh-huh.
Strangely, the handle on the other side of the door is being turned as though someone inside were doing this. But, as shown in the video, no one is in there. An encounter like this would definitely spook anyone. But then again, there are some who might write this off as being caused by a draft entering the handle's lock. Although it isn't sure if that's the case.
Is that a thing? Can that actually happen? I've never heard of that actually happening. Like, that's interesting.
Second video that seemingly dispels this notion. On July 11 of 2009, Jerry's recording his son when all of a sudden something
Oh, he's
really
making some
creepy
music.
happens.
Aww.
Take a look.
Playing on some pans. Ooh. Ooh. No, grab your kid. Grab your kid. Yep. 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 Grab a hold of your kid and you run.
The same closet from the first video can be seen opening on its own. Then, seconds later, the toy flips over by itself. It almost seems like whatever had been inside had tripped over this toy in its attempt to get to the child. It is immediately then that he grabs his son and rushes out of the living room at once.
Yep, you run out of there with yeah.
Viewers believe that he might be dealing with something paranormal, but as with most videos, it's hard to be sure if that's so. Could it be that a supernatural presence resides in Jerry's closet, or is something else going on here? You be the judge.
Number 3.
An anonymous individual named S had broken into a house that is said to be haunted. The residents of the place no longer live on the property, as apparently...
Oh, that reminds me of the Nana video. I don't know if anyone in chat knows what I'm talking about, but there's a video by the same person who did YouTube 666, YouTube channel 666, where they made a video called My House Tour, and it had shredded sliding doors like that, and like disgusting molding tatami mats and things like that. It's a really good video. It's creepy as hell.
The wife who lived here mysteriously disappeared. No one knows what happened to the couple, but it's rumored that something terrible occurred.
I'm fucking scared, bro.
It was after their disappearance, however, that a family member shared surveillance footage from inside the couple's house. This footage was taken from the couple's security cameras, and it shows things that occurred before they went missing. Overall, though, the footage is pretty creepy. Take a look at these clips and see what you think.
Okay, so that could have been a draft. Maybe not. Nope, definitely not a draft. That's definitely not a draft. That's something violent. Don't know what the fuck these are, but why would you keep those in your house? Oh, and look at that, they're moving. Yep, goodbye. Shattered on the floor. Something's moving. Oh no, that's the door opening. That's not a draft. That door's opening very slowly.
Although pretty creepy, it wasn't scary enough to deter someone from breaking inside. An anonymous individual named S had seen the footage and decided to check out the property for himself.
Why would you do that?
Little did he know, this was a bad idea. He breaks into the property by entering through a window on the second floor. He goes in and immediately feels uneasy.
Why would you do that?
This is what he caught.
Nope, if I heard that, I'm out of there. Yeah. I've never, knock on wood, I never really experienced anything like that before, that violently. I've been pretty good at, like, keeping everything positive. So I never really, I told the story before, but the only really negative feeling I ever really dealt with on a personal level was at my aunt's house, my aunt's old house, where, I got scratched by something, and it felt like I got hit by an electrical wire. It felt like an electrical shock running up my back. And all I was doing was walking up the stairs. There was nothing there that could have hit me. Yeah, like, why would you do that? Don't do that. Don't break into... Good Lord. Yeah, you're in the creepy house, yes. Oh, that's the door that opened slowly. 'Cause that was in the video. The CCTV footage. Oh, thanks for blurring that out. Oh, I thought the door was shutting behind him without him without him touching it. Also, here's a doll room. Of course there's a fucking doll room. Oh, one got knocked over. And he dropped the phone. You gonna pick it back up? Yeah, pick it up. Pick it up. We're not done here. This is what you get, you fucking dumbass. My weirdest thing I experienced was, I think, once someone told me dinner was ready, and, you know, like a hungry gremlin I am, came down, and dinner was ready, so I saw, but no one was home at the time, but hey, free food. That's weird. That's creepy. That's like a glitch in the Matrix. Also, I'm kind of surprised, because if it was a violent spirit, I'm surprised not more shit is broken in there. Like, I saw the henna doll was knocked over, but maybe it had something to do with the people that live there. Who knows? There's those creepy ass things again. It stopped. Ooh. Ooh. They want you out of there, man. Get out of there. Just leave. Don't go back in. Don't go back in, just leave.
It was only after the mysterious knocking had stopped that the intruder looked to the side and saw what appeared to be a shadowy figure peeping from down the hall. It seems to be observing him before creeping away from sight. Not sure if he was just seeing things, he walks over to where the figure was seen, but eerily finds nothing there. Now, it wasn't until posting this video that viewers had noticed something odd about the figure. After being spotted by the intruder, it moves in such a way that seems very unnatural. It almost appears to be floating or even sliding away from view. Just like the surveillance footage from earlier, viewers find this video baffling. But there has yet to be more footage posted. Until then, we'll have to base our judgment on the evidence.
More footage should be posted, because he's not going back. Why would he go back after that? I wouldn't go back after that. That's just creepy.
For the full video and story on this mystery, you can check out the channel Fourth Wall, where other paranormal videos can be found.
Okay. I'll think about it.
The following video comes from William Sloan, who in 2013 caught footage of something pretty creepy. Before capturing this footage, however, William had played with the Ouija board inside his house.
Dumbass!
The reason for using the board wasn't just to play with it, but rather to ask questions to the ghost that is haunting his home. According to William, there have been strange happenings in his house.
Doesn't matter if you're asking questions or not, you don't fuck with that.
Was responsible for these odd occurrences. Fortunately, it was through the Ouija board that he found out the name of the ghost. It calls itself James and claims to be responsible for the strange activity in his house. But then one night, while being in his living room, William encounters something pretty spooky. William sees his chair.
My spirit was trying to speedrun killing an intruder.
Thinks that it might be James who's sitting on it.
What spirit was trying? Oh. I know what you're saying.
I know you can do it. Come on.
William is clearly unnerved, but it's the following video, which was taken a month later, that captures something really freaky. William is alone at home when the following happens.
Okay, a few minutes ago, I was sitting on the couch over there, and was just watching TV and on Facebook as usual, and I don't know where Baxter is. Right there. Baxter
Kitty
was sitting next to me on the couch, and Hazel, this girl, was way back here in the hall. Okay?
William James, that purple guy.
And all of a sudden, these vertical blinds they rattled by themselves. Like somebody just walked into them. They're shaking a little bit now, but it's because of the heating vent. It's adjacent, and they always sway a little bit. Or Baxter, he hangs out and he moves them. But we're going to try to get it to happen again.
You're gonna scare that poor cat.
James, if you're here,
William Afton, no purple man, man in purple, the slaughter behind the man.
And I didn't get it on tape when it happened the first time.
He's persistent.
I don't know. I think that was the vent. It wasn't like what it did before.
Oh. That made me jump. Holy shit. That made me jump. Oh. It's long 2 beans since the last time I seen my soon.
It is still unknown as to what exactly caused this. Is it the case that James, the supposed ghost, is haunting William's house? Or might there be another explanation for this? Once again, what do you think? Feel free to share your thoughts down below. If you caught something creepy on camera,
okay,
or if
we
there's
don't
any
care.
ghost videos you'd like.
Number 1. Better be good.
This next video comes from Nathan Hughes,
Aww.
who not only enjoys being an actor and a photographer, but also a dog owner. One day, while sitting at home,
That's adorable.
Nathan notices one of his dogs acting strange. Molly, who was resting on the couch, began to tremble as though she were seeing something incredibly frightening. Being a lover of dogs, he was deeply unsettled by Molly's behavior. If only he had known what she was seeing.
Oh, look at that puppy!
This is the video he took.
Oh, poor baby. Oh no, the baby's so scared. Oh no.
What's wrong? What are you looking at? What is it?
Oh, I would give that baby a hug.
Molly? What is it? Are you okay?
I do want to point out, as a dog owner, there is a clear way of telling if your dog is in pain or not, because when your dog shakes like that, sometimes it's because they're in pain, but usually they wouldn't be focused in one spot if they were in pain. They would probably be looking at you, like, like, hey, I'm in pain, help, but as you can see, she's clearly, like, staring at something, so it could be that, but it could also be something in the house freaking her out. Wake the hell up, Emily, we have the spirit to burn.
What is it? Eat your biscuit. No?
Go in there, man. Go help your dog. Help your dog.
What are you looking at?
Help your dog. Go in there and help your dog.
Why would you eat your biscuit? It's okay. Where's your biscuit?
Go in there, see what's up. Scare whatever is frightening your doggo. That's a nice house.
She appears to be seeing something that Nathan can't. Unlike most dogs, who either growl or bark at something that doesn't appear to be there, Molly trembles in fear. As one viewer had commented, just imagine what that spirit looks like for her to be trembling like that. Although we can't be certain if it's something paranormal, there's no denying that Molly's reaction is very unsettling. Now, it could be the case that she's having a seizure, but according to a viewer, if that were so, then she wouldn't be responding to Nathan's voice.
Yeah.
In the video, we can see her looking back and forth when being spoken to.
Yeah.
That she's able to respond, which is often impossible for an animal having a seizure to do. So then, what exactly is causing her to react this way? As with most videos, this one remains a mystery.
Yeah, it's just like I said prior, because in the beginning she's not really acknowledging him at first, but then she does. If it was like a seizure, or if like she was in pain or anything like that, she wouldn't really be focusing on his voice all that much. She would just kind of be... Well, she would be focusing on his... With the seizure, she wouldn't be... If she were in pain, she would kind of look at him just strictly like, hey, I'm in pain, help me. But it's obvious that she's focused on something that's there. Everything scares me. Okay, well, that was the end of that. Oh, give me a second, chat. Okay. So that was a scary video. Ooh, excuse me. We should probably look at more creepy things. I want to look at more creepy... Actually, you know what? Let's watch Will McDaniel for a bit. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but I love him. He's amazing. He puts a lot of work in his videos.
Hi, Will. You look like you're lonely.
I am. Will you be my friend?
No.
Oh. Well, that's okay. I have Frank.
Hello.
He's a cut friend. He keeps me company, and he helps me store my liquids.
No. You're lonely.
Oh, my liquids. And also, Frank is on fire.
Why don't you try the all new FLIPNOTES pal from FAPS?
Wow, what is that?
It's your very own new best friend that grows as you take care of it.
Wow, that sounds great. How do I do it?
The Plant Pal kit comes with everything you need to grow your new buddy. First, open up your box to reveal the contents within. Then, take your Plant Pal bulb out of its protective packaging, and the bulb should spring into life.
Wow.
Next, fill a plant pot with the special Plant Pal Complete Compost Mix. That looks yummy. Create a hole for the bulb and plant your new buddy into the soil, leaving the shoots at the top exposed. Give your friend a quick water and leave it to grow.
Finger plant.
Look at that.
Wow.
It's already well on its way to becoming your new pal. However, now it needs feeding. So take your sachet of specially formulated Plant Pal liquid track mix and sprinkle it onto the soil. Look how happy he is.
Thingy.
Just remember to feed your leafy chum one sachet every week and watch your friendship grow. Now look at this handsome fella.
Hello there, Plant Pal. Will you be my friend? I'll take that as a yes.
Very soon you'll be able to have conversations with your new buddy. Just take good care of them until... Well, hello there. What a big boy you've become. I bet you're full of insightful things to say. Quite the conversationalist.
Oh, he's a regular chatter boy. Chat, 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 chat. Chat, chat. Chat, chat, chat. Chat.
Chat. Chatting.
Chatting.
Chat.
Chatting.
I bet you two have so much in common. Just remember to keep watching him, and you'll have a friend for life.
Whoops!
You think this is funny?
I forgot to water him.
Is this a joke to you? You're a murderer! That was a life, you moron! Just because they're part plant, you think our life isn't as valuable?
The new Plant Pal kit comes with everything you need to grow your own best friend. Get yours now from FABS.
Hey Frank, I missed you. You were taken far too young and you stored a necklace.
Hi there. Thanks for watching the video. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to my newest patrons. And their names are Piper Power.
I really like Will's stuff. Like I said, he what a face to land on. He puts a lot of work and effort into his props. And I like the universe that he created because it's all kind of part of like the same universe where all his videos take place in. And I just like all the work and time and effort that he puts into it. Oh, hold on a second. Okay. Like, hold on. Let's look at one of his how-to videos. Making human sausage. That's new. What is this?
We're going to take this XOP-902 parasite and inject it directly into our side.
Just need to wait a few moments for the parasite to latch and do its job.
That's from his barbecue video.
So the parasite has now embedded itself and mutated my DNA, and in the process I've done a sausage flap. So you just lift up the flap, and you push really hard, and the sausages start coming out. We're going to take this XOP-902.
All right, let's see. What's the shortest one? Because I don't want to watch one that's very long. Let's do. Here, let's do the Christmas dinner one.
It's nearly Christmas. The most Christmassy time of the year. Isn't that right, Ghost of Christmas Present?
I'm a spooky Christmas ghost.
That's right. You certainly are.
I'm gonna do a poo in your stockings.
You are?
Teach you a lesson about commercialism at Christmas.
It's the lesson we can all learn from.
My poos are full of pogs and Lego.
Thanks for the heads up.
They hurt when they come out.
Yeah.
I think there's more fibre in my diet.
Or less Lego.
Or less fibre. I can't remember which way around it is.
I think it's less Lego.
Nah.
Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how I made the alien foods from my previous video, how to cook a Christmas dinner for an alien. So if you haven't seen that, the link is on the screen now, and you should probably watch that first so this actually makes sense. So I'm going to go through the process of making each of the foods, but there's a lot of information to get through, so this will be more of an overview.
What?
What?
Did you say stocking poo?
No, I said overview.
Oh. As you were.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, I'm gonna go.
Great. So I won't go into too much detail, as I've covered a lot of the techniques in previous tutorial videos. Anyway, let's start with the materials list.
Oh, and he has a character called Materials List that actually reads off all the materials for him too.
List. Open me, you idiot! Merry Christmas!
I wanted to wrap up the materials for you for Christmas, but I got confused and I wrapped up myself.
Hey.
I've lost my body. I think I used it to wrap up the box.
Of course you did.
My torso was made of wrapping paper.
Why would you do that?
I just wanted to do something nice for Christmas. You jerk!
What? Give me a severed head in a box wrapped in your innards?
Yes, it's a festive treat.
It's very generous of you.
I think this might be my last Christmas. As my last act, I'd like to read the materials, please.
Sure. Off you go.
You will need scrap plasticine, kitchen foil, monster clay, PVA glue, and tissue paper, expanding foam, craft knife, and sculpting tools, plain flour, liquid latex, oh, kissy kissy. Oh, my last wish is kissy kissy. And liquid latex thickener, hot glue gun.
Oh yeah, in all his videos, the materials list always kisses the latex.
And other craft glue, some red wool, talcum powder. No, not malcolm powder. I told you he's stinky. Yes, that's better. Red and yellow acrylic paints, polymorph plastic, a compressor, and airbrush. Ooh, fancy. Stop motion armature wire, duct tape, and masking tape. All of the tapes, yes. Cardboard. And pillow stuffing. Always fluffy. Okay, I go now. A little help.
Now for the big, long method. Okay, so let's begin with the flesh nut. So the first thing I did was to take a rugby ball and wrap that in kitchen foil, and then coated this in warmed up monster clay to create the base shape of the nut. I then used watered down PVA glue and strips of tissue paper to paper mache on top of this base shape. I waited for this to dry, and then I did another layer. Then once it had all dried, I cut the paper mache along the length of the nut to create the two halves. Then I filled the insides of the nut with the expanding foam and spread it out with a spoon. I did this to both halves of the nut and left them to dry. Then this formed the base skeleton structure of the nut. If you use expanding foam, make sure you use it in a well ventilated space and wear gloves, as it sticks to everything. It's horrible. I added another layer of clay to our base shape to make it a bit larger. I used monster clay to create the lip shapes on the nut and used the sculpting tools to blend them in and shape them. And I did this on both sides of the nut. So I mixed some liquid latex with liquid latex thickener and then put a coat of this on the monster clay nut shape. I waited for this to dry and then I applied a second coat. So once this had dried, it was time to remove the latex skin from the monster clay sculpt. So cover the latex skin in talcum powder so it doesn't stick to itself. Then cut the nut all the way around with a craft knife or scissors. And peel the two halves of the skin off of the sculpt. I added some thickened liquid latex to the cut line of the skin, and then I waited for this to dry. I painted the whole of the skin of the nut with watered down red acrylic paint, and then dabbed away the excess of the paint with some kitchen roll. I waited for the paint to dry, and then I coated the nut with unthickened liquid latex to seal the paint in. Then I made a mix of watered down
Looks like
darker
milk.
red paint, which I mixed with a little bit of liquid latex, and ran this through the airbrush, painting the insides of the lip and around the bottom of the nut. I then jumped back onto the inside of the nut and gave the expanding foam a coat of liquid latex.
Oh, that looks like cottage cheese. That's so gross.
And used this to form the gums around the top of the nut. Once this had dried, I gave the gums a coat with watered down red paint and then removed the excess with kitchen roller kit. And then I used this same method on the expanding foam inside the nut, and once it had dried, I coated the whole thing in liquid latex again. So the next step is to put more of our red paint and liquid latex through the airbrush again, to spray on the inside of the nut. And then I sprayed on another layer in a slightly fleshier tone. I softened some polymorph plastic in hot water and then moulded it into teeth shapes for the nut. So many teeth. And then I gave all of the teeth a wash of yellow acrylic paint. Once they were dry, I glued them onto the gums with our hot glue gun. And then I blended in the point where the teeth joined the gums with some of our thickened liquid latex. So to make the tendrils that held the jaws shut, I hung up a load of strands of red wool, dipped these in liquid latex, and then waited for them to dry. In the meantime, I got some shorter lengths of red wool, separated these apart to create strands, then I dipped the strands in liquid latex and spread them apart on the inside of the nut to create veins. Once the lengths of hanging wool were
Oh,
dry,
that looks
I
so
cut down the
gross.
sides and glued them to the inside of the nut, and then onto the other side to seal up the jaw, and then finally added some more strands of red wool dipped in liquid latex. And there we have the flesh nut. I also glued on some brown hair around the base of the nut to make it look a little bit more gross. The skin just actually sits on the papier-mâché shell, so I could pull the lips back whilst I was filming. And then next, I moved on to the stone inside the flesh nut. So I built a base for this out of scrap plant.
So pretty much, he just puts a lot of, like, time and effort into, like, all his work. It's honestly very impressive in my opinion, how much he puts into all his stuff. Like, that's way more work than I probably would ever put into anything, honestly. So, let's see, we got 30 more minutes left. What else should we watch? I want to keep watching some creepy stuff. Ooh, what's this? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Did you just delete my save file? What the fuck was that? Okay. What's this? Scariest ROM hack?
Every Super Mario 64 cartridge is personalized. That's a concept that you've probably heard of before, but what if it was an undeniable fact? Imagine if every time you played your Super Mario 64 cartridge, something was just a little bit different. Well, maybe not just a little. You know what? I think I'll just show you exactly what the most terrifying Super Mario 64 ROM hack is.
Okay.
Check out my social media and second channel link below. Let's go. SM64.z64 is a ROM hack created by Jeff Tastic that was added to the ROMhacking.com site on February 15th of this year. The name is deliberately made to seem like a regular Super Mario 64 ROM. However, after first opening up the game, you'll quickly realize that this game has a few things that are a little bit off. The title screen doesn't even have the typical "It's me, Mario" intro sound or Mario's head floating around. Instead, it just has the words Super Mario 64 in low quality font.
Okay.
It seems like an early prototype of the main game. Even the music is different. After the game starts, the area outside of the castle seems relatively the same. Keyword is seems, as if you compare it to the regular game, you'll notice a few stark differences. For one, there are no trees.
There's no sign.
There also
no butterflies.
And finally, the largest of all, there is no life or health counter at the top of the screen.
Oh yeah, that too.
As if this is an early prototype and these features just hadn't been added yet. Everything just feels unfinished. After entering into the castle, you'll notice that it's not only completely silent, but also only contains just one room with a blank star on the door. Of course, this room contains Bob-on Battlefield. I think the theme here is also a little bit slower, but here's the regular version for comparison.
I'm back. I have a feeling Mario's gonna die. Mario, come out to the screen. He bleed on me.
Early on, you'll notice a few differences, like the lack of enemies, red coins, actually any coins, and the signs pointing away from the mountain instead of towards it. When you finally begin to move up the mountain, you'll also notice a lack of those steel balls that typically get in your way. Trying the teleportation trick doesn't work either. After you finally make it to the top of the mountain, you'll find out that what waits for you isn't the King Bob-omb, but rather just a lone star. After getting the star, this happens.
Okay. Oh.
An error with the only coherent words being, something changed. I'm sure those of you more experienced with Mario ROM hacking and things like that may be able to recognize if anything in this supposed error is off, but since I can't, I'll move on. Let's restart the game and hopefully this time it'll work right.
Right.
The outside of the castle, console, everything seems the same. However, if you listen, you'll notice something. Did you catch it? If you didn't, I'll play the original area from the first playthrough and the current area side by side. There's a lack of wind. It's so subtle that most may not even notice exactly what's missing, but it's quiet enough that you feel like something changed. And that is genuinely one of the most eerie feelings a person can have. If you actually knew what was missing, it would be much easier to brush the feeling off, because who cares if wind noise is missing in a game, right? Now that you're not exactly sure, that feeling will be prominent in the back of your mind. And soon enough, this feeling will turn into dread. The Bob-omb Battlefield level seems similar all the way until you're up the mountain. Before, there was nothing significant outside of the path. However, now there's a flower patch with arrow signs all pointing down around it. When trying to ground pound or stand there, nothing happens. To me, this could mean that you're supposed to crouch down and hide under the flowers at some point, but I could be wrong. And plus, why would Mario even need to hide? It's not like anyone else is out there, right?
That's ominous. Oh, hello.
After getting the star, the player gets the same error. Maybe something will be different again. Now, when
that was
loading
creepy.
into the area outside of the castle, there is no sound at all. Only the empty echo of Mario's footsteps reverberates in the player's headphones. Even the princess's picture is now absent from the castle. Somehow even the doors are subtly different, with no red carpet in front of them and no border around them. It seems like the game is continually reverting into an earlier state, as if the player is attempting to vaguely remember what a Mario 64 game is like, yet each time it gets more and more difficult. The castle room and the area to the Bob-omb Battlefield painting are both a bit larger. Mario is becoming more dwarfed by his surroundings, almost as if he's disappearing, or rather, perhaps it's as if they're trying to consume him. The music in Bob-omb Battlefield is now completely different, and the sky is a pitch black. Even the objective box at the start no longer says anything but objective. The render distance is also a bit limited. Again, it's as if the walls are closing in. I don't know why, but the way this level felt was oddly comforting to me instead of eerie. Kind of like how Yume Nikki music can be terrifying to some, but is pretty comforting to myself. Maybe it's just because the level feels so closed in that I feel that way.
I do plan on playing Yume Nikki for Halloween at some point. I got a couple of horror games I'm actually planning on playing at some point. For Halloween mostly, but...
When traversing the mountain again, you'll notice that the flower patch and signs have moved, and are now floating over the ground.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's free on Steam. Yeah, I have it downloaded and installed. There's something up here. Yeah, don't go forward. There's something up here. Oh, there's gonna be a jump scare, isn't there?
When you finally get to the top and grab the star, the same error occurs yet again.
Oh, never mind.
I'm not even sure if I want to reload the game anymore. When loading into the outside area again, a ton of textures are missing, most prominently the sky and water textures. The game seems to be decaying at this point. It feels like an everywhere at the end of time experience in video game form.
It's Buzz Lightyear.
Now the Bob-omb Battlefield painting is even further from the door.
And the bombs are missing. They kept disappearing and now they're just gone. That was an abrupt cut.
Into the level, the objective box now just says, leave. The render distance is even less now, and there's no music anymore. While running around, everything seems pretty regular.
Oh, that happened.
All of a sudden, this tense music begins to play as a timer counts down from 30 seconds. The screen gets darker and darker as Mario desperately tries to reach the top of the mountain.
Okay. Okay, well, you just fell like a dumbass. Then again, I don't know how good the controls are. Oh, hell no.
Eventually, everything stops, but you can still keep moving. In my case, I decided to get to the top of the mountain, and then when that didn't work, I jumped off, thinking that I had to go back to the start of the level in order to beat it.
Okay. Mario 64 is fucking creepy. Like, I only played like a little snippet of it. I never really fully played it. But...
Nope. Nothing. While running around, I assumed something would pop out of the dark and scare me, but no. I was waiting for something to happen with bated breath until I saw it.
What did you see, pray tell?
On the mountain, there was some type of white object that definitely wasn't there.
Oh,
I assumed
no.
It was chasing me, however, it didn't move. So I decided to get a closer look.
Oh, no. Maybe the flowers? Yeah. Oh, what the fuck is that?
Close inspection, it looked like a corrupted and maybe even scrapped version of Mario himself. When moving in close proximity, the screen begins to vibrate violently before it suddenly attacks.
Oh, God. Oh, this is what happens when you win the race.
No, fuck. I made it.
But there's nothing.
When restarting the game again, there's no music and no words on the title screen at all.
Oh,
Not
hell
only
no.
the game now has most of the proper objects and textures, but it's missing the most important part, Mario. Slowly an unfamiliar song begins to play, the one that's been playing in the background of this segment. Then a text box pops up saying, "Everything is better off without you." Could this have been made for a specific player? Or is this directed towards anyone that would have been meant to try this accursed game? In this game's universe, why would someone hate someone enough to go to this much trouble, especially in a Super Mario 64 game? It's hard to say. You could even say that this was a cool joke made by a developer of the game to trick people who thought that they were getting early access to the game. Either way, the unknown premise makes the game that much more terrifying in my opinion. And oh yeah, I'm sure you're wondering what exactly happens after this text message pops up. Well, nothing actually.
Oh. Oh, it just abruptly ends. Okay. What the fuck is that? Hold on, what the fuck is that? Also, I'm just gonna say this right now. Again, I wanna either fucking Super Mario 64 fucking terrifies me to no end. Liminal spaces, like, usually I'm fine with liminal spaces, I think they're cool, but when it comes to something in a video game that's meant for kids and things like that, it's just like, oh, no. Also, I really like this guy. I'm gonna subscribe to him.
Those that are meant for adolescents are typically lighthearted, but sometimes they miss the mark. Whether that's intentional or not depends on the show, but they all have the same effect. They unsettle you. All of today's
I love Invader Sim.
Suggested, and if you want to suggest things yourself, make sure to hit up my social media link below. Now, let's get into some unsettling shows. And, if you're wondering about the title, Blame It on Jorge got blasted, so I'm trying to keep a certain word out of it.
Wait a minute. What word is it? Oh. Kids shows, okay. Crashbox! That's Crashbox! Oh, I used to love Crashbox when I was a kid.
Well, now that we've got your attention, let the game begin.
Crashbox is a title I noticed pop up multiple times. After looking into it, I realized that it brought back some vague memories, but I was surprised that more people hadn't mentioned it before. Crashbox is an educational show that aired for 2 seasons on the HBO channel.
I used to watch this all the time. We didn't have HBO at my house, we only had mostly cable, and we didn't really have anything else. So whenever we went to other houses that had HBO, I would always watch this show. So I always loved it.
The show consists of short educational games of varying length. Now that may sound a little odd. How can a premise like this come off as at all unsettling? Well, it's kind of like a real-life game of Go. That's not necessarily the best way to put it, but it has a very similar aesthetic. A lot of the characters have a vintage look to them.
Yeah, no, fuck this guy. I think he was meant to teach words. Like, words that were similar, but they all mean something different, I think is what that segment taught. I don't remember what she taught.
Find some of the story. One character in particular that's very similar is Captain Bones. Just looking at him may have immediately...
Oh yeah, Captain Bones taught math.
His segment in the show is pretty tame, kind of. Basically, he breaks his body apart and uses his bones to create simple math problems. They always have something wrong at first, and of course...
And you gotta move you gotta like move a certain amount of bones to make it equal. Or to make the solution actually fit. Oh god, they're gonna show the gross guy. Oh, I hated the gross guy. The revolting slob. Oh, I hated him.
The good old revolting slob is the first one up, and let me tell you, if you're unsettled by gross things, then this may terrify you. The narrator will basically ask the viewer what word best describes what the slob is eating or doing. The slob does look kind of creepy as well, especially his little teeth.
Oh, I hated him.
Since I'm not analyzing the whole show, I'll only talk about one more segment, the haunted house party.
Oh, I actually liked the haunted house party. That was one of my favorite segments in the show.
The segment begins with some sinister music as the camera pans up to the haunted house, with the narrator welcoming you. On the left of this clip, you may have also noticed a clay figure holding its head. It kind of reminds me of the Scream painting, or of something else.
Oh god, not the Mark Twain stuff. He looks like he was gonna sell me a car. Oh my god. The Mark Twain, I actually, I have a story about that. Sorry, I got distracted. I got a text message. My dad actually went to the public library and he brought back the Mark Twain tape. And, you know, it starts off normal. Like, it's a little creepy, but, you know, it's just retelling stories about Mark Twain. And then this shit pops up. Slams hand down on head. This baby can hold so much gross. God, the scene was so crazy. I wasn't scarred from it, thank God, but it was just... Yeah, it was... Like, it's a retelling of Mark Twain's Mysterious Stranger, but you wouldn't include that in a kid's movie. Like, that segment itself in that movie was really fucking creepy. Like, I don't know why you would, Yeah, and those fucking kids are scared shitless.
Anyway, right. The segment is about identifying specific historical figures based on clues they give while they talk to someone else in the house. I really like the aesthetic of this segment. The creepy house, claymation monsters, and shadowed figures walking by the windows of the house all could make the younger me pretty unsettled. Although the education is simple, I highly recommend Crashbox for anyone that wants to watch some content with this aesthetic. The segments are well made, and the Candle Cove aura it gives off at times is purely authentic, which adds to the atmosphere.
God, I loved Crashbox.
Oh boy, Poppy the Performer. You know what? I would try to describe this show, but
I love Poppy the Performer! Let's go!
Clip from episode 1 will work.
I love Poppy the Performer. Show made for kids, by the way. It's actually true. A lot of people like to tell you that that's not true. It wasn't made for kids. It actually legitimately was made for kids. I actually wanted to cosplay as Kitamono.
Around 10 years old. I think that's really all I need to say, but I'm obviously going to say more. Poppy the Performer was a show released on Japan's Kids Station and was actually written by a husband and wife. Not sure if they've ever interacted with a child before, considering what they made, but I respect the effort. There are 39 episodes of this show spanning across multiple seasons. Every episode follows Poppy trying to learn a new performing skill. In Season 1, we have things like magic, fire breathing, karate, and escape artistry. I'm not sure who was actually able to see this as a kid, but I'm genuinely interested as to if it scared you or not. Maybe it's so absurd that no child would actually be creeped out by it at all, I don't know. Now obviously the animation and overall imagery is the entire reason as to why the show was on this list. Now some of the moments in this show are absolutely insane, like for example when Poppy is fighting the sun guy who proceeds to throw the moon at the earth like this is Majora's Mask, only for Poppy to catch the entire moon and balance it on their head. I'm not even joking. But others are genuinely unnerving, like the episode Dark Side. Obviously, this episode is about a dark side of the circus that the characters want to explore. When going into the dark side, it of course makes them act dark. So we get imagery like this.
Yeah.
I think this really sums up exactly why I chose to talk about this show today. The quality of the animation and background also genuinely just make things feel very empty, very similar to a liminal space. Now if after all of that you happen to want to watch this show, you can find it right here on YouTube. The entire show lasts just under 3 hours, so you may be able to binge it after this video.
God, I love Poppy. Oh no. Oh no, not Mr. Meaty. Oh no. That's what happens when you're not a Gerber, baby. Oh, why are we gonna talk about Mr. Meaty?
Ah, Mr. Meaty.
No.
The show best known for the tapeworm episode. I'm sure many of you are familiar
No,
with
not the tape. No.
If not, Mooch Master P is about Parker going around and eating everyone's food because, of course, he's asking to take a bite and therefore mooching off of them. Eventually, he accidentally eats a raw burger and contracts a tapeworm. Now, if all of this wasn't bad enough, we get to see them fish the tapeworm right out of him. Speaking of this scene, this portion right here is crazy.
And approach the sausage.
Now, of course, there's
Oh.
how the Australian guy at the end.
I do remember the tapeworm one. That's the only one I remember. There was one where. I remember when he was about to get eaten by cannibals. There was one where someone was found frozen in the freezer. God, there was one where they fried his hand and they started eating it, like they were frying each other's hands and eating them. There's a couple of them I remember, and they're like, oh God.
Which was great. Of course, I'm talking about an entire show, so let's move on to some common tropes that exist in all of the episodes. First of all, we have the character designs. I think that cheap puppets freak a lot of people out, a good example of this being Peppermint Park. But with Mr. Meaty, the characters seem almost meant to look grotesque in a way. Like, I mean, look at these characters.
God.
Second of all, I would say just the general gross-out scenes. They have a tendency to always take things as far as they can go, like Ren and Stimpy or Season 6 through 8 SpongeBob. An example, outside of the saliva thing, would be an episode where Parker and a goth girl both deep-fry their own hands and literally eat them. Yes, this is not a creepypasta. This is 100% real, and you can find this full clip on YouTube itself. In other words, it's a very weird, and sometimes very gross show that can easily unsettle younger people and even sometimes creep out adults if it wants to. Some really don't like the series, but I think it has its charms, so as I've kept saying, if you like it, check it out.
God. Oh, what the fuck is this? Oh, this is the thing on the thumbnail.
Some of you have heard of the 1999 creepypasta. It's a classic story in which the main character stumbles upon a creepy kid show on a local channel. The host is a man dressed in a cheap bear suit, and well, a lot of not so good things end up happening. One of those things involving the kids that participate in the show. This may sound a bit irrelevant, but it actually is a perfect segue into this section's subject. Big Dog is a show that, from what I could gather, was shown in the 80s and 90s on a Newcastle TV network called NBN. It's a pretty simple show as well. Basically, the host and Big Dog participate in a set of games and songs with a group of kids. For example,
oh my god, that's terrifying.
Balance beanbags on their heads while walking on this stick. Now, before we get to Big Dog, I want to talk about an aspect of the show that really creeped me out personally. There's pretty much zero background noise, save for that.
God, remember Booba? Like the show Booba? Oh god, I don't want to remember Booba. That show was trippy.
Of course, they do sing and do other things, so it's not as if it's completely silent, but the lack of any background sound gives off this really empty feeling. It almost gives me the aura that the kids were forced to be there, even though their parents were just off screen. When relating that back to the creepypasta I talked about earlier, it just gives me this uneasy feeling. Honestly, if you want to see what I'm talking about, you should check it out. You can find it right here on YouTube. That being said though, Big Dog is the other reason that I think this would be pretty scary for kids. He's not super terrifying by any means, but a lot of people don't like mascots at all, and the cheaper costume could unnerve a lot of people.
Does he talk? What? 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 No.
Yup, Pomple and Pilt. Otherwise known as The Repairmen Are Coming, this show was created in 1969 by Arne and Bjorg Nickel, I guess. The series has only 5 episodes and was aired on several different occasions. Because of its lack of logical and psychological content, it was not only criticized by child psychologists, but eventually deemed not suitable for children by the NRK, or Norwegian Broadcasting Corporation. Speaking of psychology, this show also brought on a different type of psychological response. Fear. Just looking through the comments on any episode put onto YouTube shows that many people had this sentiment. This show is very dark, and by that I specifically mean the background. A lot of empty background space is taken up by pure darkness no matter what time of day it's supposed to be or where they're at. It always looks super dark and empty, and of course the fact that the show in general doesn't have any color isn't very helpful. The puppets in the show are also pretty cheaply made, which is always not only could hit some parts of the uncanny valley, but could also just generally set off people that have a fear of puppets. Along with that, a lot of the show has a lack of background noise. This adds to the already blank dark background and makes the show seem even more empty and unsettling, like it's just somewhere you don't want to be. Maybe I also get that feeling because of a certain Mickey Mouse creepypasta. Who really knows? Goosebumps is something that
I loved Goosebumps.
Many of you watched it as well.
Yeah.
I remember being so afraid of one of the Haunted Mask episodes that I literally ran.
I loved Goosebumps.
Back on it, the show is much more cheesy than anything else. That's where the Haunting Hour comes in. The Haunting Hour was a show that ran from
oh god. Oh, the Haunting Hour. I remember there was an episode of the Haunting Hour. It was like about these kids and they're living with their grandfather or their uncle who's like a fear psychologist, and he's retiring, so he goes to a retirement party, and the girl is so interested in his work that she decides to like test out this box that he has. It's like a recording box, but when they're talking in it, their actual fears that they talk about come to life, and then Fear himself actually shows up. Oh.
It was also created by, you guessed it, R.L. Stine, the same guy that of course created Goosebumps. This show is similar to Goosebumps in the fact that children are the main characters, but the stories these episodes have and the way they pan out is a little bit different. An example is the Pumpkinhead episode. The YouTuber Pushing Up Roses covered this episode in detail, so I recommend you check their video out, but I'll briefly explain the premise. Long story short, these 3 kids go to a pumpkin patch to steal a pumpkin. However, they end up entering a barn with creepy pumpkin-headed dummies. Eventually, they're able to take some pumpkins and leave. A couple of days later, one of the kids gets kidnapped and later has his head chopped off and replaced with a pumpkin, and the same happens to another kid before they approach the car with the last one inside. It's presumed that he suffers the same fate. Now obviously that is a stark difference from the typically wacky and ambiguous Goosebumps endings. It's much more dark and doesn't try to be as fantastical as the former series. I'd be lying if I said that Goosebumps didn't have some creepy concepts, but the way the Haunting Hour goes about things is just different. Another personal example of mine is from the episode Really You Part 2, wherein the main girl starts to have her body parts literally replaced with doll parts. I can only imagine the type of visceral horror you'd experience if you were able to watch your appendages slowly transform into plastic pieces, losing feeling and becoming immovable even though you had no way to stop it. If you're a fan of Goosebumps, I highly recommend you check this show out. This won't be the last episode, so don't worry if your suggestion didn't get picked. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Now those episodes are creepy. That's what I would call creepy. Let's you know what? Let's watch one more thing. One more creepy thing. Disturbing images on kids' TV. Oh yeah, there's a Kirby ARG. Hold on. I remember reading about this on Reddit. Now I just want to make a Goosebumps tier list.
This is the Kirby Horror ARG. Let's explore it.
Oh. Ooh. I saw that his face moved.
Our series begins on Maple Riot's channel. The first video in the series, titled Kirby.mp4, follows a player starting a game of Kirby Superstar on the SNES. Kirby enters the level Spring Breeze and almost immediately succumbs to drastic health loss and corrupted files. Kirby dies, and a picture of 3 children whose eyes have been blacked out appear on screen as a distorted smudge of Kirby watches from the TV behind. You may have noticed a date appearing on the screen, that being September 20th, 1996, which happens to be the North America release date for Kirby Superstar. But a few more mysteries lurk in this first entry.
That was a year after I was born.
Right before Kirby dies and the screen turns black, a mysterious figure with one eye appears in the border of the screen. While it doesn't look entirely like him, the character is reminiscent of the series' regular Dark Matter, but we'll jump into this a little later. It also appears that there's 2 different forms of Kirby, one being the regular Kirby that dies during a level, and the other being the virus. This Kirby takes the form of the art on the intro that actually looks towards the player as the page slides across the screen.
Yeah.
The virus also appears to manipulate Kirby's logo and the smudge we see on the TV screen. As it fades, we see a quick glimpse of a disturbing smile as he looks towards the children. Another note is during the glitches, real-life images flash of a radio station and police officers by their vehicle. What could this mean? Well, let's jump into episode 2.
Oh boy, here we go. Okay. Oh. 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 Oh.
The video titled Kirby's Test Room begins with Kirby running across screen as it cuts to an ad featuring doctors talking about something called TMK. However, this isn't just some random clip. TMK was an ad that ran for Kirby Superstar about a fake disease called Too Much Kirby.
Too much Kirby.
In the original ad, those infected simply just turned into Kirby. However, I feel as if the side effects in this ARG might be a little more sinister. You see the virus Kirby with a hole through his head, saying the word spray. Which only solidifies the idea that TMK is being used as a real disease. The dead Kirby on the ground then gets revived with the same hole that the virus shares. We then see a final shot of Kirby on a real-life television, with the shadow of a dead boy hanging visible in the distance. Where could this be going?
That's dark, holy shit. Jesus Christ, dude, why did they make an ad for that? I know, right? Well, it's just like, ads for, like, the PlayStation Baby, and they made a lot of really creepy video game ads, like, really creepy commercials for them. Mandela catalog?
The
Okay.
next episode picks up right where the previous one left off. Someone comes home, clicks on the light, and sees the boy hanging in the room. I assume it's the mother by the unsettling screams. We also see that Kirby, who was previously visible on the TV screen, is now gone. If you turn closed captions on, we see the name Brent Cole. I'm going to assume that this is the name of the boy who died, and we see a phone call mentioning TMK and how it's getting worse. The conversation then gets cut off by the virus, and the spread of the disease is visualized by the copies of Kirby Superstar multiplied. Okay, let's pause and take a bit of a theory break to catch everyone up to speed.
Okay.
It appears that real-life copies of Kirby Superstar are infecting players with a disease titled TMK, aka Too Much Kirby. This was mentioned in a real-life ad to promote Kirby Superstar, but the ARG is using it as a PSA to warn of the disease. Very clever. The virus that caused TMK takes the form of a one-eyed creature that looks vaguely familiar to Dark Matter, a popular Kirby villain. From what we see, TMK has caused one boy by the supposed name of Brent Cole to kill himself, and I assume the three boys in the first episode suffered the same fate. Some questions that are still left unanswered are the roles of the men on the phone and the inclusion of the radio station in the first episode. I guess the only way to conclude these is to move forward.
That one, PlayStation 1. Baby 1. Have you seen that one, my hero? Why was I created? Oh. Oh.
In later news, a brand new outbreak has come from the brand new party. Some kids have these fakes, but others, I warn all parents to put away their consoles.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yep, it's definitely a marketing choice. Yeah.
I turned subtitles on because they are crucial to understanding the story from here. We see hidden messages from the virus asking questions regarding its existence. This is actually very interesting as it means the bug in the game isn't directly responsible for TMK. TMK could be a byproduct of the bug, but it's not like we have some malicious ghost in the code causing kids to kill themselves. We then see some snippets of news stations warning of TMK, and the confirmation that Brent Cole was indeed the 13-year-old boy who killed himself. The newspaper headline reads, "Game nearly kills boy," and while it's cut off, the title seems to read along the lines of, "Blank-year-old blacks out after he hangs some towel in school washroom." Jesus Christ. Although it's tragic, we find out that TMK can be cured. The news reporter states that some kids have been saved, and after seeing this bottle of pills and turning the brightness up, we can assume that TMK can be cured by having 2 of these pills a day. While this is the meat and bones of the episode, we do get a very important plot point here. If you pause on the frame after Brent Cole's tombstone, we see that the message below his name has changed to, "I have your son."
Oh.
Closed captions then read, "You can't blame me that my world is better than yours. You can only blame yourself."
Oh.
That phrase is interesting. "I have your son." While trying to think of what this meant, I went back to the original origins of TMK. In the Nintendo universe, TMK causes children playing Kirby to turn into Kirby. In this universe, the kids simply kill themselves. But I want to imagine that the core philosophy of TMK remains the same, that these kids become Kirby. If we go back to the episode where Brent initially kills himself, we see Kirby appear on the television. Later in the next episode, Kirby is gone. My theory is that TMK causes players to admire Kirby and his world, so much so that they want to join. Once Brent killed himself, he crossed the path into Kirby's universe and became Kirby, similar to how kids transformed in the Nintendo. Once the mother entered the room, Kirby, now the boy, is gone as he's left to explore his new home. It's just a theory, and I'm throwing it out there. So let's move on to the next segment.
Hey, look, it's Bill Cipher.
We see King Dedede and Waddle Dee having a meeting regarding TMK, but it seems as if they're just representing the real-life developers of the game, with Waddle Dee being a man by the name of Donnie and Dedede being his boss. Donnie walks in questioning why no one is worried about the TMK bug, and Dedede responds annoyed, saying that TMK should be disregarded as it has a 1 in a million chance of occurring.
Hopefully we can use him to decipher this code.
While most just question his boss's judgment, one mentions that he might be drunk. Looking at the description of the video, we see that this takes place on March 12th of 1996, just 1 week before the Japan release. It seems as if the manager in charge of Kirby Superstar was drinking during the final weeks and skipping over important bug patches to ensure the game was released on time. This is the assumed reason why TMK gets skipped over and the bug's inclusion in the final release. We then see Donnie visiting the bug, who welcomes him back by saying, "I miss you." Donnie then notices that the bug can remember people and it possesses thoughts, proving that it's much more advanced than an average glitch. This may seem malicious, but the description also gives a note from Donnie that reads, "Program bug does not seem hostile. Program bug seems to only want answers. Answers I can't give. I need to know who programmed this thing and why." This episode is clearly dedicated to the origins of the virus, but it is peculiar that it wasn't born evil. Something or someone must have influenced it. But who?
Alright, warning everybody, flashing lights. Oh. What am I? Oh.
The next entry states that it's a re-upload of the previous installment, which is clearly bogus, but I believe it to be true to some extent, so let's dive into it. This entry starts off exactly the same as the last, with the only difference being the glitch effect over the interaction. The video glitches out to images previously seen until we jump back to the meeting, except Dedede is a little different. It seems as if he has been possessed by the virus and continues on its quest for answers. He uses Dedede as a host to ask Donnie about his creation, but due to his confusion, he has no answers. Like I said, I believe the word re-upload has some significance here. From what we've seen so far, it doesn't seem as if the entity in the game can directly control that outside of it, but it can influence thoughts and cause those with TMK to seek a life in Kirby's world. I believe Donnie's memory is being manipulated or re-uploaded by the virus in order to get answers regarding its existence, which explains the fuzzy glitch effect over the memory. Once this fails, Donnie is then brought back to the real world in front of the computer screen that he was left off on in the previous episode. He has no answers for the virus, so he loads his existence into the character we have seen throughout the series. The eye appears, and the TMK bug finally has found a host.
Huh. Oh. 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 Ugh. Hmm. Oh, there's Mario. Oh my god. Hmm.
The first clip shows some new gameplay footage of Kirby Superstar. Except you may notice some graphical differences. This game might not quite get that E rating.
Yeah.
If you take a look at Kirby's thoughts, you can see that he's inexperienced and getting used to the feel of the world. We then get greeted to the virus, who says he needs help to write a message to Donnie about TMK. He also notes that this Kirby is smaller than the last one. This basically proves our theory that the boys turn into Kirby after death from TMK and are being used by the virus for some plan that he's scheming with Donnie. If there was any doubt of this, it's almost certainly confirmed from the community post that Maple Riot made after this video, showing the kids and their Kirby models. You may notice that Brent was kid number 1, and he has unfortunately been crossed out. This makes me think that he was the Kirby who died in the first episode and has since been taken over by the virus. The virus then states that he needs one more body to find his true purpose, and the episode ends with police cars, possibly heading to the scene of the crime of this supposed last child. The next video picks up with the virus and Kirby. They're trying to bypass the security feature to swap TMK with the regular Kirby. However, Donnie is sleeping. I can't tell if Donnie just fell asleep or if this is the virus trying to bypass the system by himself. Regardless, Donnie is woken up by his
I don't know.
at his doorstep drunk.
Interesting.
He barges in and finds that Donnie is messing around with the
I like how it shows
During
King
Donnie's
DDD
rant
being
about
drunk.
why
It's funny.
okay for his boss to just storm into his home, his boss informs him that his son was the one in a million. He died and has become the third child left in the virus's master plan. The video ends and season 1 has come to a close. Whew, I know it's a lot, so if any of this confuses you, let me just recap the whole story from what I understand so far. Just know that these are my thoughts and speculations, so other theories may differ. A week before the Japanese release of Kirby Superstar, a bug tester by the name of Donnie found a serious bug in the game that needed to be addressed. This went by the title TMK, which stood for Too Much Kirby. After multiple failed bug reports and meetings, Donnie found himself discovering a mind in the entity and acknowledged its intelligence. TMK wanted answers to its origin, but Donnie had no inside knowledge regarding the bug. With little to give, TMK was granted a host as a character in the final release of Kirby Superstar. Throughout its Japan and North American release, some players found themselves infected by TMK. TMK causes players to have a desire to leave their own world and join that of Kirby's. They find some unknowing attraction to Kirby's universe and, in an effort to cross the plane of existence, kill themselves. Once in Kirby's world, the virus finds and utilizes them in some way for his master plan. The connection between the deaths in Kirby Superstar was made, and news reports as well as PSAs were created to advise all players of staying off the game. 3 deaths have been confirmed so far. One being Brent Cole, the other a boy named Ryan Smith, and finally the boss's son who has yet to be named. The season ends with the boss finding out that Donnie has been messing around with the bug and demands answers on everything he knows about TMK. The story is only beginning, so I encourage everyone to check out Maple Riot's channel.
That's really
I'll
interesting.
leave a link to his channel in the description.
I remember reading about it, but I never watched any of the videos.
There's so many possibilities to the way this series...
I never watched any of the... Oh, that was something else that... Hold on, I want to watch this too. That ARG, like I said, I found on a Reddit. And I never really watched any of the videos, so I didn't really know a whole bunch about it specifically. But this one too, I've seen on Twitter. And I was like, what the fuck? So I've been wanting to, like, also see this too, so...
So it's goodbye. So soon we are fighting our separate ways. With thanks for all say so long and go. So soon, goodbye.
I've been really excited for this for quite some time. If you were a kid around the 2000s era and were fortunate enough to be part of a family that was moderately well off, odds are you had one of these. Within the horde of wildly successful games and titles came just as entertaining apps and features found throughout the DS store. These included various ways to interact with friends and found a more social aspect among DS users. And if you're familiar with any of these, then odds are you remember the incredibly unique...
I wanted to play FLIPNOTES so bad, but I was too late.
Allow users to create FLIPNOTE animations and share it among the platform. Users could give these animations stars, which are basically lights, and find their way to FLIPNOTE fame. However, this would only last for a short period of time, as FLIPNOTE Hatena would sadly close its servers on May 31st of 2013, leaving all of its unique creations and animations in the past, only celebrated by the memories that we made. However, luckily for us, the June Archive project has been established to recover all these lost FLIPNOTES and bring them back to our loving arms once again. What could go wrong? During the shutdown, the archive was created and saved about 400 FLIPNOTES immediately after the service closed. This team has been working day and night to search through these files and recover any lost projects that they could. They were able to bring some of our favorites back, but some things aren't quite right. For example, they tried to recover this famous FLIPNOTE of a classy frog singing. However, it was a little different this time around. Let's take a look.
So soon, and isn't this a crime? We know by now that the time knows how to fly.
So before we start, I must confess, the original and restored FLIPNOTE...
Weekend, thank you so much for the raid! Welcome, everybody! Welcome, welcome! I hope you had a good stream. How y'all doing? We're actually looking at a DS FLIPNOTE ARG that I've heard about, but I haven't really watched anything of it, and so far it's... yeah.
features the song Goodbye So Soon, but it's from Disney. And trust me, I know much better not to mess with the mouse. They'll copyright strike this to oblivion, so I edited a cover of the song in instead. So we can obviously see that something's off. The FLIPNOTE seems to be corrupted, and it actually ends with something unsettling. A realistic drawing of a frog dead on the ground. This didn't happen in the original video, obviously. And it's pretty clear that something's wrong. We don't learn much from the video, however, so let's try moving on to the next one.
Take a look in the kitchen. You can't find it.
Oh.
You can't find it.
Okay.
Friends.
Where is everyone?
So again, and as with all FLIPNOTEs
Uh-oh.
in ARG, the beginning starts with a seemingly normal and popular FLIPNOTE. However, this one is especially interesting as this file doesn't seem corrupted, but in fact has a consciousness of its own. Mario seems to notice that something's off and walks outside. The world is grim and red and almost seems apocalyptic. Suddenly, Mario dies, and if we pause, we see it's because of the time being 0, a way Mario can die in older Mario titles. However, this isn't a normal level. The time of any level hasn't reached 0, but instead the world itself. We
Oh.
see the date June 1st, 2013 appear in the sky, the day after the Flipnote Hatena service closed. Darkness begins to spread and consume everything. It seems like this horror series places every Flipnote in its own dimension. When created, they live here in perfect harmony with one another, but when the servers close, the dimension ceases to exist. If we look at the description for this video, we can see that this Flipnote wasn't corrupted, but instead updated. Since this archive consists of Flipnotes directly after the servers close, viewing them now shows the aftermath of a complete universal shutdown. Let's see what happens in the next video.
Huh.
Where is everyone? Oh, me no, me no, me no. Where did they go? They grew up. They moved on. And you, why do you still live in the past?
Ugh.
Get it. Get it. Get it. Alright, kid, here's your hot dog.
I'm not gonna lie, this kinda got to me. Again, we get a sense of consciousness amongst the characters. There's an immediate realization that something's wrong, and we can see a sense of worry and emotion from the doodle. It seems as if the partner at the lemonade stand gets possessed and tells the realization that everyone's gone. All the kids grew up and consoles began to evolve. Slowly, the audience for Flipnote Hatena began to dwindle and inevitably shut down, leaving everything to be destroyed in the process. However, I found it really interesting that before seeing any fate to this character, he gets transformed into a different Flipnote. This one is of a man at a hot dog stand. This leads me to a theory. A game theory! Wait, that's not me. Like I said, it was mentioned that these Flipnotes were extracted very shortly after the service closed. There's no way to determine how time passes in this universe when compared to ours, so it's very possible that many things can occur only in a few seconds. It seems as due to the apocalypse of Flipnote, there's no sense of law or management in this universe. Vigilantes are forming, characters are being possessed, and it's all being watched over by some disfigured clock man in the sky. However, did the June Archive project save some of these Flipnotes? No, I mean literally save them. It makes sense that if these Flipnotes are being sent to their inevitable demise, them being archived actually could save them and takes them out of this apocalyptic world. The restoration process was too late in saving the Frog and Maria. That's why we see them die on the Flipnote. However, it seems we made it just in time to save the character at the lemonade stand. Although it does seem that when we saved him, he was in another Flipnote. If all of these exist in the same universe, then it seems logical that you can just simply walk over to another Flipnote, right? Well, I don't know. Let's move on to the next video and see what happens.
Hello, my name is Fuzz. Fuzz the cat, mascot for the June Archives. And from us here at the Archives to all of you out there, we'd like to say, whoa! We've received a lot of support for the Archive project. We're incredibly grateful. Please be aware that our restoration process takes time, and that we are working as hard as we can to get updates on archived files. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for supporting the Archive and Restoration project.
Okay. Okay. Oh, it's not over. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, kind of. It kind of reminds me of the Skinwalker from Cat Ghost. Oh.
I'll be brief on this one, as it doesn't seem to actually take place in the Flipnote universe, but it does add a really weird layer of real-life elements to this story. This edition throws the makers of the ARG into the story itself as some anonymous character looking for something specific. Thinking about it, we actually don't know the real reason for the June Archive project. We just accept that it's some outlet for the story. But if you read many comments that the account leaves, they stick with the act that this is actually some large restoration project of old corrupted Flipnotes. There seems to be something else here going on behind the scenes. Let's see what's up next.
Oh, it's Kirby.
Oh man, now I have to add 100 stars. Dude, it's just a game. It's not like it's your mom. But the Starface won't get me if I don't!
Oh. Oh. Well, I'm looking for a McRib.
The stars are growing dim and dwindling in number. But why? Something's not right.
That was actually kind of funny. It was a little bit.
So we find this mysterious character entering the Flipnote as he, to put it bluntly, completely mutilates Kirby. He grabs Kirby by his head and rips out a star from his body. This actually shows something about the Flipnotes. There's a life force, as you will, that comes from the stars they get, and this actually makes sense in a real-life manner. Like I said, stars and Flipnotes are basically lights. There's different types of stars, with better ones being awarded to more popular Flipnotes. The livelihood and memorability of these Flipnotes came from the amount of stars that they garnered. However, with the service shutting down, there was no one able to award stars, and the life force in each Flipnote was dissipated. I would imagine that whoever this mysterious character is knows this, and out of desperation tried to steal another Flipnote's life. Although successful, he saw that every animation was losing life as well. The Flipnote ends with a clear confusion and frustration that this character, as well as every other Flipnote, must be in.
Not wanted. Welcome to McDonald's. Can I take your order? I'd like a way out. What?
Listen, I know it's hard to believe. And don't panic, but we're all trapped here. There's a dark void encircling us, and it's slowly closing in. And if we don't find a way out of here, we're all going to die.
Hey, what's up with the guy in the drive-thru? You said there's something blocking everybody in the city. No one can get in or out. What the hell? Hey, let me talk to that guy. Get your hands off my headset!
Hello? Hello?
Uh-huh.
Is anyone out there? Help me.
Okay.
This is the final
He was
Flipnote
also there to get a
Kirby
McRib.
posted on the Dune Archive and Restoration Project, and it acts in a similar manner as the rest.
Alrighty, I'm out of VR. How are you? I'm doing really good, Weekend. How are you doing? As you can see, we're watching just Flipnote ARG.
Something not right and realize if they don't escape soon, they'll die. More and more characters keep disappearing, and this eye figure is again moving throughout the Flipnote universe. The final frame consists of a collection of letters and numbers, however the R is missing. This doesn't seem to serve any purpose as of right now, but I'm assuming that it must in the future. However, I really want to bring attention to this eye. It appears in multiple Flipnotes, and it seems to appear at random locations. It's obviously searching for something, and... wait, I feel like we heard that somewhere before. There's clearly something more going on with the investigation of these Flipnotes from the Dune Archive project.
Doing good. Just went through Specimen on VRC and it was a trip. Oh yeah, no, I heard about that. Hope you had fun.
Whatever it is hasn't been announced yet, but
It is amazing.
That this
Good.
furball might be hiding a little bit more than he puts on. Remember that big clock tower that's been hovering over the city? Well, if you look closer, his head's literally a cat. I don't want to put two and two together, but I'm sure this means something. Well, let's take a look at this clock again. What else can we see? If we look closer, we can actually see a time of 11 o'clock. It would make the most sense if this was at 11 p.m. on May 31st, as that would be the last hour the servers were alive. However, the date in the sky says June 1st. So is this wrong? Well, I don't think so. Whatever this conspicuous Catman wants, he wanted to find during the crash of the Flipnote universe. I feel as if the role of this clock is to actually rewind time, specifically an hour before the universe crashed. This is actually somewhat confirmed when one of the possessed characters say,
"Why do you still live in the past?"
And this theory actually makes a couple other things make sense. See, we previously saw characters noticing a lack of stars.
Where the stars
However,
at?
during the final hour of Flipnote Studio, there would still have been stars coming in. If anything, more, since people would want one last look at the flip notes that they love. The stars, as well as every flip note, would cease to exist all at the same time, giving no animation any time to notice. But now, if we assume that the Flipnote universe went back in time, that doesn't mean ours did. The DS was simply the link between dimensions, and we would still have no Flipnotes available to send stars to. This would result in a sudden lack of stars in their universe, and obviously cause a panic. It would be like if we suddenly didn't have water. That's a problem. We can actually see time slowly moving forward throughout the Flipnotes, with some even taking place at the same time. The McDonald's animation flashes the words 27 minutes later, and the lemonade stand Flipnote shows the cat clock at 11:27. However, one thing that these all have in common is a description that says updated, June 1st, 2013. This can either prove that something did happen, aka the addition of the cat clock, or that something will happen soon. Something that will happen once the clock strikes 12. Wait, did I say every flip note? I may have been lying. Every flip note has the June 1st timestamp except for one, that being the first with the frog. Instead, it says that this flip note was corrupted. What importance does this frog have and why? Well, I'd hate to say this, but I don't know. I also don't know the true intentions of the cat or why some entities have more power than others. This is because the series is still going on, and I hope to bring new life to the channel with the post of this video. Let me know what theories you guys have
POV, you're
about
early.
this. Did I miss something that you may have found? Let me know in the comment section, and if you want to talk to me directly.
That's cool. I'm gonna definitely, I'm gonna, hold on. Is there a way I can find the channel? I know I'm already subscribed to the Kirby channel, but I want to subscribe to that.
My name is...
Oh, guys, look. There's more. Hold on, we're gonna watch these. Hold on.
A long, long time ago, I still remember how those flip notes made me smile. Now I feel like I am gonna cry. Got to put down our DSIs the day Hatana died. Singing bye-bye, Hatana, bye-bye. Never thought the day would come, Hatana's river ran dry. After May 31st, no reason for DSIs. Singing, singing, singing.
Memory is the key to reality. If it burns down and no one remembers it was there, it's almost as if there was nothing there to begin with.
Uh-huh. Unlock. Do not destroy. Okay. Hard to tell when this one takes place, when minimal cloud coverage indicates this either takes place before previous events, or it happens farther away from what we have previously seen in the archival data. Yeah, that was... okay. Alright. What's this one?
Hello! My name is Fuzz! Fuzz the cat! Mascot for the June Archives! I like saying that. Today is June 1st. Over 9 years ago, Flipnote had officially closed its services for good. A moment of silence for all that we have lost. There's someone calling, hey... Whoops! Left my phone on! Hang on! Let me just answer that real quick. Hello?
Ooh.
Isn't nostalgia just the worst? You get these warm and fuzzy feelings inside for a bygone era that slowly fade and crumble into nothingness as you realize that the good times are behind you. You can't go back! But what if you could turn back the clock just a little bit? What if you could change a thing or two? Oh, well, Fuzz, wouldn't that alter the present as well? That's exactly the point.
Okay, so, I know, there were red letters. Oh, hold on. I'll slow it down. How do I slow down playback speed? Okay, hold on. When does it...
Hello?
Hello? Okay, so a red letter popped up, but I don't know what it said. Okay, that wasn't... Okay. E-V... I... Evil? Evil dash... V... I... I...
The good times are behind you. You can't go back.
X...
But what if
Oh god, I missed that one.
you could turn back the
V...
clock?
Okay, well, I saw the word evil, but I think the rest of it's just kind of... What does anyone... What... I should have just read the comments. Okay, here we go. Alive, evil. Alive and evil. Oh. Interesting. Okay. Okay, now let's... Whoops. No, we want normal.
I can totally see Saturn from here. Ow! I think I got a shard of plastic shoved up my left nostril. You're never gonna believe this, but I just broke an Olympic world record by jumping 10 feet in the air. No, that's physically impossible. That's $5 I can do it again. You're on. Prepare to lose your annual salary, sucker.
Transfer initiated. Connection established. Begin temporal relocation.
So they were relocated. Original versus Mandela. Oh god. So they were relocated. Interesting.
Hey man. Hey. So looks like the world's ended. Really? That means...
Wait. Look. Hi. Hi, Monkey Poo. Welcome to the stream. Did he ever win the money, though? Yeah. This is a trip. Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Hey man. Hey. So looks like the world's ended. Really? That means...
Transfer successful. Recharging. Estimated time on charge. 30 minutes.
Huh. Okay, so it's been established that Fuzz, the cat, is turning back time to alter when FLIPNOTE was getting shut down so they could find all these lost FLIPNOTES. But he's also altering the present time as he's doing this. That's interesting. That's interesting. I'm so confused. It's a FLIPNOTE ARG. It's basically they're like recovering like lost flip notes from when Flipnote closed down, but they're making it seem like that all these popular flip notes are actually being changed and corrupted based off the final days that Flipnote was still up. That's interesting. I like that. Huh. That's really good. Oh wait, fuck, I forgot to let me subscribe. I want to subscribe. There we go. Interesting. I forgot that existed. And then there's Uncle Ben with the groundhog again. Alright, well, I think we're just going to end it here, I think. That was very interesting. Why is nothing working? Why is nothing working? There we go. Alright. Feels like I'm watching an acid trip in video format. Yeah, it was interesting. Not something I would have expected. Yeah, I think we're gonna raid Mr. Brunswick. Tomorrow we are going to be we're gonna go back to VRChat RP. I might not start till Orlando Saka time though, so around 9 p.m. Unless something happens before then. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you tomorrow.